Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you are in the world joining us today. It is March 18th. I'm Kaitie Zhee with the PegNet Community Weekly Update, and joined with me I have David Johnston.
Hey guys.
Hello, and Paul Snow.
Howdy.
I think we should do a little coronavirus elbow bump here.
Right
Social distancing, virtual conferencing at its finest.
Doing our part.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So there's been so much going on for everybody. Everyone's minds have been probably receiving more messages than usual with the constant influx of news and market uncertainties and different things. And I'm here to bring some good news to those that are in crypto about some of the work that PegNet's doing. Clearly, the community is still very active, moving along as normal, and we all work remotely as it is, and so it's good to see. One of the things that I was excited when I woke up this morning and checked my notifications was CoinTelegraph posted an article headlining PegNet had moved $500 million through its network since launch. So this is really exciting. I know personally I've been reaching out to a lot of the different DeFi lists and DeFi communities and groups, and I'm like, hey, PegNet, it's this great DeFi Oracle-based stablecoin system. You have to know about it, right? And they're like, wait till you guys grow up a little bit more. So that's been kind of the response I've been getting. But this has been really exciting. David, you're quoted in this article as well. And we'll post the link to this in the video description below, so those who haven't seen it can get a chance to click and read. But thank you guys, and congratulations to the community for crossing this major milestone and making some headlines.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome to see people using PegNet for its intended purposes. Like the amount of conversions in the system is just taken off. I think it crossed like 47 million a day this morning. So yeah, the usage of the system is just really, really healthy. People are taking advantage of the fact that it's a tenth of a penny to do conversions, right? Which is the whole idea, is they can be free to rebalance their portfolio about as often as they like. So it's cool, even with sort of, the command-like type interfaces, which are about to get a lot easier with these new GUIs for doing conversions. It's really cool to see sort of that ramp up. And I'll be really curious to see how it ramps up after a lot of these tools get released this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great tool or integration that has come about since we've done the last weekly update in the community has been the integration with Uniswap now. So David, do you want to touch on that? Because I know it's it's pUSD to Ethereum that you can swap, and if you're going to the regular website, you won't find it yet. And so you have to put in a special address in the output, and I'll put those directions in the link or in the video description here. It's 1-2, very easy. But David, do you want to touch on that?
Sure. This is just an expansion of the Ethereum infrastructure that PegNet has been rolling out. So as you guys know, PegNet, yeah, you can see right there, has an ERC20 wrapper for its tokens. So if you want to now swap pUSD for ETH or ETH for pUSD, it's as simple as adding the address for pUSD on Uniswap, and you can do that immediately right into your normal Ethereum wallet. So yeah, no, I think that's a big step forward because there's just so much infrastructure in the DeFi space that uses Uniswap and other tools like it, that it's great to see pUSD getting included there. I think after a certain amount of conversions per day, they end up adding it to the pull down menu. So hopefully we'll cross that barrier soon.
Got it. That's really, really exciting too. And for those that have been participating in the PegNet system, who have converted their PEG into pUSD, particularly in the recent market volatility, what was nice to see was that pUSD held its value. Given that it is Oracle based, it goes away from that reserve based system that is based on Ethereum prices. And I'm sure you could speak a little bit more thoughtfully around that, or if Paul has anything to say. But
and this is sort of a validation of Paul's initial sort of spark of genius, was that we had to move away from reserve-based like Tether or collateral-based like DAI to something that's Oracle-based. And so, as usual, Paul is proven right over time. And so, you know, here's another great example. So, but yeah, I mean, pUSD was just rock steady at, you know, 99 cents, 101, just right within that sort of normal band, while others were having a lot of trouble because it's not affected by the price of ETH. So, you know, Paul, congratulations.
oh, yeah, I'm mute, Paul.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is exciting. I mean, for me, you know, we've gone over this. I'm not a developer. I'm not going to be the one that's writing any kind of command lines to be involved in, you know, moving my cryptocurrency from one wallet to another. But I do understand the fundamental principles of course, PegNet, but also in the greater cryptocurrency and blockchain systems. And for me, this, just the average Joe, I would say, in crypto, this makes it a million times easier for me to feel comfortable about moving my investments from Peg into pUSD, and having that certainty that, you know, I can be able to liquidate that as needed, as my family might need for whatever case might come up. And so this is definitely a major step forward, in my opinion, towards the greater adoption of PegNet in the system.
Yeah, everybody's wanted to see the stable coins prove they're stable through a crisis, and there hasn't been much bigger crisis than the recent market downturn and all the craziness going on in the general economy. So it's really, really cool to see. It's like watching the birth of a new set of stable coins, right? At first, there's a lot of variability in their prices, you know, and over the months that's gotten tighter and tighter, and it's still, you know, 2-3%, but it's getting closer and closer to sort of that tight band around what we'd want to see for stable coins. So yeah, that's extremely rewarding, having, you know, been believing in these sort of fundamentals and technology this time. And, you know, I think the insight of having the oracles be based on mining was really key, because now you're seeing all these projects having problems with centralized oracle, and here PegNet has solved that, right? So come get your decentralized oracles. They're available today in 42 flavors of all these different assets that you'd want. I think I've posted a couple of times the API hooks that you can use from PegNetMarketCap.com, and we can put those in the video again today. But it's super easy for developers to start pulling that data and get the advantages of fully decentralized oracles. So, you know, this isn't just for PegNet, it's available to the whole community. So just encourage people to do that.
Absolutely. And I know we've been touching on it for a little bit now, and with the Chainlink integration and the work that's going on between the two parties of the PegNet community and the Chainlink community, more of that's going to become, you know, available, the news around that, as once that kind of gets finalized from both sides, that all is status quo. But what is great about that is now you have Chainlink is looking to PegNet to be a decentralized oracle in their system, you know, to add that security to what they're already doing.
Yep, I think that's huge. So the more we can be interoperable with the rest of the community, the better.
We're stuck at home, right? Everyone's here at home, and I have a little pug, my firstborn child. He's 11 years old, and making all sorts of snoring noises. I don't know if anyone can hear them, but these videos are about to get weirder.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's just the reality of where we are. Everybody working from home. So
yeah.
Well, I'm actually
still brave.
I'm actually in the office, but that's largely because nobody else is. So I remain isolated, and we do have antiviral spray, that I'm using to clean surfaces and whatnot. So taking all the precautions. Um, the impact of the virus over the next few months can't be overstated.
Yep.
And one of the things that that the health organization, WHO, is saying is we need contactless payments and payment systems. And so the whole idea of exchanging currencies, in the airport, and the whole idea of carrying around money, but it is bad. But worse, apparently, is not carrying around money. What's worse is touching payment hardware. So when you go to a point of sale and your finger touches that screen, you're touching the same screen the last 50 people through the line have touched. And when you swipe your card, you're likely to graze the side of that device, or you may touch the counter. There's just when you start paying attention to everything you touch, you begin to realize just how hard it is to isolate yourself when you're at a point of sale. So contactless payments, like paying with your cell phone where you're the only one touching the screen, and whatnot, is going to be a thing. PegNet got the underlying rails to make the whole process of paying in different currencies and in managing your finances, not just because you don't have to go to exchanges or third parties to get different exposures, but also because it's centralizing it all. It provides the promise of being able to centralize all of these things inside of a single app that has the right usage profile for isolating yourself from other people. So this is the way we're going, one way or another.
Yep. It couldn't be more timely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep seeing that in the news circuits as well, about just how connected we all are, how much, germs are being transferred. And so you have that issue. And then the other issue that I think, I can't just say just PegNet, of course, but cryptocurrency is addressing. Now, I'm not from the group think that crypto is going to replace all fiat systems. I just don't. That's just not where I'm at today. But where I am at is that I think it's a very practical line of thinking to believe that cryptocurrency is going to be a big role in kind of the banking and the government system for hedging, or businesses systems for kind of how do they balance their portfolios to a less, or to mitigate the risk that they're exposed to.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out that all of this government printing has the effect of devaluing the dollar, right? When the Federal Reserve creates trillions of dollars out of thin air, it's easy to say, oh, great, free money for everyone. But in reality, that money is costing you something in the form of inflation, right? So, everybody holding dollars took a 20% haircut, right? You just don't see it in prices yet. Right, but it'll get there, right? So I think as that sort of dawns on people, and it becomes really obvious, people are going to look to see systems that don't have monetary policies that can just, turn of the dial, create a bunch of inflation, right? So I think there is sort of an interesting play there, and honestly, I think crypto's held up pretty well, considering the size and scope of this crisis. Prices went down, but they seem to have stabilized. We'll see where they go from here. But, I think if people understand that this is a monetary policy not controlled by politicians, that there's something really attractive there. But yeah, we still have to give the practical tools. And so, There's both a trading website that's about to go live for PegNet. The developer's been showing me the demos. There's some open source guys building that. There's also another mobile wallet in addition to the existing Midas protocol wallet people can use for conversions. And so, I think all of this is going to get a lot easier to use very soon. And it couldn't be more timely because people need this in their hands right now. If they want an alternative, we have to give them one that they can easily access.
Couldn't agree more. Don't have too much to add. I know that, on one hand, I'm looking at this news as it was rolling out yesterday on March 17th about, the US government handing out these stimulus checks to every American. And I'm thinking on one hand, great, no denying that that's needed, but I'm not, there's another side to that. And that's, increasing our debt and by $1 trillion, which we can't even really wrap our head around how much $1 trillion is. It's huge. And so I am thinking about that. How and when are we going to really feel the effects of this? And I don't know. I'm not an economist, and every generation that's living in my family has never seen this kind of, economic situation before.
No, they haven't. But let me give you a little bit of brief analysis. The Fed on last Sunday made a unprecedented move of lowering interest, announcing QE 4, I guess, depending upon how you count the QEs, and they also dropped the reserve requirements for selected banks to 0, and they increased the window of the overnight loan window. I forget. David, do you remember the name of that?
Yeah, the overnight lending window. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the overnight one I know. But they've increased the payback period to 90 days. And so the overnight is a lot of overnights now. You get 90 of them. And they activated the swap channels to push liquidity out to other central banks. And part of opening up the swap channels was to get agreements that those other central banks would follow similar policies and establish similar liquidity. And all of this is creating more dollars and more liquidity worldwide, at least at the banking and financial level. And yet we don't really have a credit crisis yet. I mean, it obviously will develop, but we don't have a credit crisis yet. What we have is a production crisis. GDP in the US is likely to be down 5%. And we're very, very addicted to increases in productivity, not decreases in productivity. Even through 2008, 2009, and all that, we didn't really have a huge drop in productivity. So what you've done is increase the money supply, but the crisis is actually reducing how many products you can buy. So this is so unprecedented that we would attempt to use liquidity to try to paper over a production problem, not a credit problem, but a production problem. A business like a restaurant could take out all the money in the world and they will still have no one in the restaurant because we've got a ban on public gathering. And so the airlines, they're not going to fly anybody. So that's, I'm telling you, the whole idea that crypto went down in price is crazy. At least crypto supply is controlled and follows mechanisms that are not politically driven or driven by, you know, untested economic theories. So for my money, to the extent I can hold crypto, I'm going to be holding crypto. There just is, it just, what's happening in the banking and financial sector is really crazy. And by the way, I can't be the only one. The stock market normally explodes when interest rates go to zero. And that wasn't the reaction the Fed got. So I'm not the only one that's looking at this and saying risky, risky, risky.
Yeah. Well, we've got the solution to a lot of these issues, and we've all spent 10 years building crypto infrastructure. So now's the time. We may be at this tipping point where people realize they don't want to be in fiat currencies and they really ought to be in crypto. And I think that's going to come home for a lot of people when they can't physically get their money out of an ATM, right? When that's not possible, then it's like, why am I putting my money in my bank? I can't get it out, at least physically. So, you know, yeah, we need to move fast. We need to be heads down working, not panicking, not freaking out, just focused on what we can do to improve this situation for everybody. And a lot of that is putting these tools in their hands so they can work remotely because they can get paid remotely, because they can operate remotely, peer to peer. And if there's some problem with the banking system, and the US might be fine, but I don't know how things are going to go in Argentina. I don't know how things are going to go in parts of Africa or parts of Asia. You know, there may be real substantial interruptions. And so for these people, you know, it could be life-saving stuff. So I think we should take it very seriously, be heads down, and just spreading the word about how this can transform people's access to their own money and to honest systems. So I'm doing a video every day now just talking about crypto and DeFi and PegNet. I mean, DeFi is so topical. Like literally the banks are offering no interest at this point. Like those 7% returns on DeFi and staking all of a sudden look like incredible investment decisions, right? And so like, I would not be surprised at all if we see billions of dollars flow into, because what else are they going to invest in, right? These are the systems that everybody knows people are going to move to. These networks are very valuable. They're getting more and more robust. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox there, but you know, I think we're all on the same page. This is serious and this is important, and this is why we should be focused on this. As I wear my freedom from fiat t-shirt. Yeah, so.
Very, very timely of you. Yeah, I want to echo what you said, David, about not to panic. I just published an article yesterday myself about just how to manage practically in times of crisis. And this goes for people, families, and of course it was focused on business. But, you know, there are things that we can do, and it is in times of crisis when those who remain focused, they separate themselves from emotional decision making and focus on what they can control. Those are the ones who are gaining the most leverage in these times. And when you look over your shoulder, when things start to settle, you'll realize that you are so much farther ahead than you ever would have thought possible otherwise. And so, you know, clearly I don't even have to speculate. We're all at home at this point, working from home, right? And so now that we are at home, we're all plugged into the internet, you know, basically 24/7, regardless if you work in crypto. I would encourage that this is a great time to start really looking at PegNet, start asking some questions to get involved, help your understanding about what this means. I know that myself, I got involved in blockchain because once that light bulb moment happened for me and I understood what the, you know, innate value proposition was for the individual person on this planet, it was woven into the fabric of the technology. Once I understood that, it was like, and PegNet had that same effect on me. And, you know, I'm very long cryptocurrency. You know, it stinks. I saw my portfolio. It was a gut check. I was like, okay, when I woke up one day, but I know that I trust that it's going to go up. I just, you know, this is a great time to start looking at PegNet. I think that this couldn't be more timely. And like you said, now's the time to get to work even harder, faster, and bring these things to life so that more people can have it in their hands.
Yep, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah, and to kind of echo what you're saying about not panicking, do your homework. I would advise everybody. The toilet paper shortage is like the most illustrative issue. If you go and look at where toilet paper comes in from in the US, we manufacture it locally. Most of it in Wisconsin, apparently, or something. Somebody told me the other day. But we do it with recycled paper. We do it with pulpwood. It doesn't. We have constant supplies. The thing that's exasperating the problem right now is that toilet paper is a constant market. Apparently, people poop regularly, not seasonally, and so. It is not an industry that can react quickly to surges in demand, right? But it also means that once everybody's filled up their closet with toilet paper, the natural supply of toilet paper will return. And at the same time it's returning, all the people that went and bought it, they're not buying anymore. So you can expect toilet paper sales to just plummet following this, panic buying. If you've got enough, don't worry about it. And that's so true of so many products that have been flying off the shelves. And, I guess that has nothing to do with PegNet directly, but I do think that the idea of doing cold, logical analysis at the time that everyone else is panicking is a strong recommendation for people. And people that have store of value inside the PegNet, you have this frictionless ability to set your exposures where you feel you need them, and the frictionless ability to get back into the exposures you want later if that's what you choose to do. And so there's no concern that the exchanges are offline or that you can't get your trade in or anything like that. You can just use the PegNet and it will just work for you. So I don't know what to say other than to really suggest people to do research behind everything. Don't try not to succumb to panic, and please look at the PegNet as a mechanism to provide a reliable and market-driven mechanism to manage your exposures.
P Gold is your friend.
Yes.
We don't have P toilet paper stocks listed in the system, but we do have factoshi.io/PegNet, and I was checking that out this morning. The hash rates are really strong. Last I checked, it was hovering between 1,700 to 2,000 million hash per second, which means that the network is secure, just to what Paul was saying, that this is not going down, the system. It's being secured constantly and abundantly. So, all right. Shall we sign off there, folks?
Sounds good.
All right.
Goodbye to you all. Elbows.
Elbow. All right. We will catch you in the Discord and hope to see more and more new faces during these times.
Okay.
Everyone, be safe.
See ya.
Thank you.